describe the morphology and life cycle of lice, look at lice in general, and understand the diseases carried by them. Look at the factors contributing to these diseases outbreaks, and also recognize the signs and symptoms of this infection and other diseases. So what are the characteristics of these lice? Lice are wingless ectoparasites. They belong to the hexapoda group. These parasites live outside of their host, just on top of the host. And they belong to hexapoda, and they have 6 legs. They undergo incomplete metamorphosis, and their order is Theraptella, which is divided into 2: Malophaga, that is the biting lice, and the Anoprula, which is the sucking lice. So we can see that these lice are wingless. I think that still in our image visually, they have 6 legs that are visible. And as we shall continue seeing some of the characteristics in the next slides, they undergo incomplete metamorphosis. Who can tell us what incomplete metamorphosis is? I want an engaging class today. We look at some of the names. George, can you tell us?
I can't actually explain better.
Okay, it's all right. Franco, do you have an idea? Dennis, Gabriel.
Yes. Hello?
Dennis, do you have an idea of what incomplete metamorphosis is?
Okay. When we talk of incomplete metamorphosis, we refer to the 3 distinct stages of eggs, lump, and adult. That it doesn't go through like the pupa, like from eggs, larva, pupa up to adult. But it has only 3 distinct stages. So that's what I can recall about incomplete metamorphosis. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. I hope we've all been reminded of our biology, because I think everyone here has a biology background somewhere. James, am I right?
Yes.
Okay, I think we can go on. So we have 2 main categories of lice. We have the biting lice, and these ones feed on hair and feathers, and they're not usually medically relevant. And we also have the sucking lice that feed on blood, and they're highly host specific. So still visually, you can see the different categories, looking at the chewing or biting lice and then the sucking lice. We can see that the biting lice has a wider thorax. I mean a head that is wider than the thorax, and which is vice versa for the sucking lice. So they have different morphological differences that, and some are visually, can be seen visually with eyes, when you just look at the lice, and some cannot be seen, they are hidden within the bodies of the lice. So the sucking lice have a piercing or sucking mouth part that is hidden within their bodies. So let's look at the human lice species. We have the body lice that lives within the clothing, which is the pediculus humanus. We have the head lice, which lives in the hair, pediculus capitis, and we have the pubic lice, which prevents the coarse body hair. Still visually, we can see the head louse, the body louse, and then the crab louse. The crab louse looks like it has claws somewhere, so it has to cling on to the host. So going ahead to look at the life cycle of the body louse. The body lice has an ideal environment on the host's body. And as we said, it undergoes incomplete metamorphosis, where we have the egg, the nymph, and the adult. We have just 3 stages. Its lifespan is around 3 to 4 weeks, very short. And then ages hatch within 4 to 15 days. It takes multiple blood meals daily during the larva stages and then the adult. It's highly dependent on the host grooming and the immune response for survival. So if you do some cleanup for the body, the lice may not be able to live up to the 3 to 4 weeks that are suggested as its lifespan. So we can see that the adult lice lays around 50 to 150 eggs. And then these eggs take 17 to 10 days to develop into a nymph. And then the nymph takes around 10 days to develop into an adult, whose lifespan is for 3 to 4 weeks. So what is the medical significance of these lice? So all these species of the human lice are found worldwide, but more common in temperate regions. And different of these different species still infest the human differently due to their different blood sucking behavior. I think someone should mute Samuel. Okay, thank you. So due to their blood feeding behavior, these human lice can transmit a great variety of diseases such as the typhus and the relapsing fever, trench fever, as we are going to talk about them in the next slide. So let's look at the sucking lice mouth parts. These lice specifically feed on a blood meal and have piercing mouth parts hidden inside their heads. These mouth parts enable these sucking lice to penetrate the skin and get a meal for the day. So when you look at these lice, you cannot readily see the mouth parts that are piercing from the outside. They hide them within their bodies. So when you look at this image, this is a sucking lice, but I'm sure no one can see the biting parts. But hidden within the body is this piercing part that penetrates through the skin and sucks the blood out of the human. So when we look at the pubic lice, it hides within the body hairs. For example, the pubic regions, the eyebrows, the chest hair, sometimes even under the armpits, the beards. So these lice mainly depend on the hygiene of the environment. They like places that are really dirty. So when you find people who do not take care of their health and cleanliness, so they are mainly transmitted through sexual contact and sometimes through beddings or shared objects. The symptoms you'll always see or feel itchiness. They will leave some stains at the bite sites, and also you will have to see some blood stains on the undergarments, maybe the vests, if you have the mice on the chest, the pubic areas, you look at your undergarment and see some blood spots, among others. So these pubic lice are also called the crabs or the human crab lice. And as we've said, they affect the pubic areas, as you can see visually. And they have those claws. Their legs are formed into claws where they can cling onto the hairs and hide to take a meal. Let's go on to the head louse. So the head lice infest the scalp and the head regions, of course within the hair, they hide within the hair, and their eggs are attached to the base of the hair and can be used to estimate the duration of infestation if you're carrying out any study about them. So they are common among school age going children who do not shave their hair or do not keep their hygiene. And there is really no evidence that head lice have significant diseases. So this one still shows us the head lice, and you can still see the eggs within the hair strands. So the adults lay eggs and they get attached onto the hair strands. So if you do not take care of your hygiene, these school children, and there are people who really do not, maybe people in camps, the people on the streets who sleep on the streets and do not have time or resources to take care of their hygiene, they always harbor head lice in their hair. So let's move on to the body lice. So the body lice attaches to clothes and they occasionally grasp onto the body hair. So they get onto the clothes, get attached there, and then in the end look for hair on the body and attach there. They are common among homeless populations, unhygienic conditions, overcrowded places, street populations, people who live on the streets, people in camps that are overcrowded, among others. So that is an illustration of the lice and how they attach onto the clothes and eventually affect the skin. You can see. So they attach on the clothes still and take a meal onto the skin. So still, if you do not keep hygiene, if someone doesn't keep hygiene, they will not wash their clothes. They will take days without washing clothes. And the lice will be able to stay there for quite some time. So let's look at the diseases that are associated with these body lice. So these body lice not only cause itchiness and discomfort, but they also transmit some pathogens. They transmit trench fever, louse bone relapsing fever, and then the epidemic typhus. So let's look at the trench fever. So this trench fever is caused by a gram-negative bacterium called the Batonera quintana. And back in the 1915, a British medical officer on the Western Front reported on a shoulder with relapsing fever, headache, dizziness, and within months after that shoulder was reported, so many additional cases were described, and most of them were frontline troops. So this disease that was discovered was named the trench fever. So it is a clinical syndrome, and this trench fever was first discovered in the First World War, where more than 1 million troops were infected with this disease. So each of the infected soldiers was unfit for duty for more than 60 days. It would give relapsing fevers, high fevers, severe headache, and in some rare cases, heart failure would occur. So the historical outbreaks are in the First and the Second World War. These soldiers used to work on picking the lice one by one from their bodies and smashing them on their nails so that they could get rid of them. And you can see them looking for the mice from one another. I mean, lice from one another and trying to squeeze them with their hands. So let's look at the louse bone relapsing fever, which is caused by the Borrelia recurrentis. These bacteria move from the louse's gut to the hemocoel, and humans get infected by crushing these lice. They are common in parts of African regions with poor living conditions, and their symptoms are really not different from the others, but they also include nausea, muscle pains, high fevers, abdominal pain, among others, and the mortality rates range from 5 to 40%. So, what is that diagram communicating to us? This diagram is showing us a magnified view of a female body louse with its larva, you can see. So, it is already satisfied with its meal and it's waiting on laying eggs to grow its family. So this louse bone relapsing fever is characterized by the repeated episodes of fever. Not forgetting the other symptoms that we've listed above, we've discussed above. So thirdly, let's look at the epidemic typhus. This typhus is caused by the Rickettsia prowazekii, which is an intracellular bacterium. So when a louse is infected, and sheds the bacteria into the feces, and the human gets in touch with the fecal material of the louse, gets infected with the disease. Transmission occurs through inhalation or exposure to feces, and currently, typhus remains a problem in several countries. The symptoms still are high fever, rash, headache, and delirium. Mortality rates range from 10 to 60%. Typhus has been looked at in the world wars as a biological weapon, although it has not been used as a biological weapon yet, because it explosively spreads in populations that already have the body lice. So during the World War II it was studied, it was looked at as a candidate for a biological weapon by Japan and by the former Soviet Union during the 1970s because of its potential to be lethal and to spread between humans. And still, it has not yet been used as a biological weapon. Looking at another disease, which is the Brill-Zinsser disease, it is basically the reoccurrence of mild form of typhus many years after the initial infection. So historical outbreaks of this disease who have been reported in various cities, especially among immigrant populations. So after a very long time of infection from typhus, this disease usually comes up. So how do we prevent and control these diseases? So many measures have been suggested to control and prevent these diseases, including reducing contact, regular change of clothes, shaving the hair parts of the body, and avoiding shared items, maintaining hygiene, bathing, and so many others. But in cases where the lice have really invaded the community, there is also insecticide treatment and use of medications like the vermectin. Although lice have developed resistance to these insecticides, many studies are being carried out to find out the different causes of insecticide resistances in these lice. And this marks the end of our lecture today. Thank you very much for listening.